right? As I told, we'll discuss about what is the need of collection framework and what is collection framework basically, and what are the important classes and interfaces that are available in this collection framework. We'll discuss. Okay, so basically, right. Right. So framework is nothing but, so if you talk about framework and library, right? So framework is nothing but a set of classes and interfaces in order to achieve some task, right? So a group of classes, right? So they have introduced this collection framework concept. In this, they have given us a set of classes and interfaces so that we can represent the data and we can perform operations on the data, same like array, correct? This is not a new concept, right? Even in the C++, Shruti, if you're aware, right, we have the STL, right? So standard template library. So this is same as collection framework, right? So yeah, so that is a library, right? So standard template library. So they are giving some kind of classes to use and to represent the data. In the same way, in the Java, they are calling it as collection framework. Okay, so yeah, so right, so this is about the collection framework. So first we'll discuss about what is the need of collection framework and what is basically a collection, right? So if you wanted to represent a group of, okay, so individual objects, then as a single entity, right? So if you wanted to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we'll go for collection. Okay, but we can do the same thing. Then we can do the same thing using the arrays as well, correct? So even if you wanted to store group of elements or group of objects, we can also go for arrays. But why we require collection when we already have arrays? So we'll talk about that now. Okay, so yeah, right. So basically, if you wanted to represent a variable, right, so you can declare it. If you wanted to represent some value, you can declare a variable, right? If you wanted to represent two values, you'll declare two variables, right? So in the same manner, if you wanted to represent 10,000 items, right, so then we need to group them together in order to represent them using a single variable, right? So we need to group them together so that it is flexible for us to perform operations on that group of data, right? If these are not together and they are individual, then it will be difficult for us to maintain them and to read them, correct? So that is the reason we have chosen arrays, right? So we can create an integer array that can represent these group of values with a single reference, that can group these elements, or that can represent these many elements with a single reference or single reference variable, right? So these are all grouped under the single reference variable. So that is the reason we are using arrays, right? So the collections also we are doing the same thing, but what is the requirement of collections to be introduced when we already have arrays? So that is the thing that we are going to discuss now, right? So basically, what is the limitations of arrays? So if you come to the limitations of arrays, what is a basic limitation of the array is size is fixed. The array size is fixed. Okay, the size of the array is fixed, and we cannot grow and shrink the size as we need, or based on our requirement. We cannot do that. We don't have that flexibility. So we should define size, right? So we have to we should know the size before we create an array, right? So size should be known before creating an array. So if you wanted to create an array, you must be aware of the size, right? Otherwise, we cannot create an array, right? But what is the issue?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So what is the issue with this size thing is, right? So if you declare your array as 10,000 and later in the runtime you only got 100 elements, right? So remaining 9,990 elements, 9,990 memory locations will be waste, right? You are unnecessarily reserving that memory space and you are not using it, right? So you have reserved that memory space and you are not using it. So that is a drawback. Or you have declared 100 as your size and later in the runtime you got 10,000 elements, right? You don't have place to hold them or host them, right? We don't have place in the memory because my array size is 100. It can only accommodate 100 elements, it cannot accommodate more than that. So that is a drawback of arrays. But if you go for collections, it is not the case. So they will be growable in nature, or right, they will be growable in nature. As you insert the elements, the size will be automatically increased. So you don't have to do anything there, right? We don't need to be known size for storing the elements into a collection framework classes, right? So that is the one disadvantage, right? And you can only store homogeneous elements, right? Homogeneous elements in the array, but in the collection we can store any type of elements. Okay, so if you take arrays, we can only store same type of objects, right? We can store only same type of objects. If I create a student array, I can only store student objects, new student class. So if I create an array with which can hold student objects, it can only hold student objects, right? So new student object it can only hold. But if I wanted to insert some employee object into it, it's going to give me error, right? Student of 1 equal to new employee. So if I wanted to store employee object into this array, it's going to give me error. But it is not the case with collections, right? It is not the case with collection. I can store any type of objects into the collection. Okay, so this is one more drawback of using this arrays. Okay, but there is an option for this. We can create an object array. We can create an object array here. Okay, and we can store these objects. So in the arrays itself, we have the solution, but yeah. Okay, so array of 0 equal to new student. So I can hold the student object, and I can hold the employee object as well in the different memory location, in the different indices. So this can be possible. Okay, so this can be possible, right? So like the only drawback is the size is fixed, right? So we should know the size before doing this thing. Okay, and one more disadvantage is we have very limited method support. Okay, so we have very limited built-in methods. Okay, built-in method for performing some operations, right? Performing, if you wanted to perform different operations, we have very limited method support for the arrays. Okay, right? So everything a programmer has to write, right? So the logic you have to implement, you have to write the logic. There is no default support for the methods, but unlike arrays, in the collection we have a lot of method support is available, so that we can do each and every task very easily, right? We don't need to write uh, extra logic or custom logic, right? So it is not required. So all the logic they have implemented, we just need to use the methods in it, right? So that is one more advantage of using collections. Okay, so these are the drawbacks of arrays, right? So arrays and collections both for representing group of data, right? If you have some set of data and you wanted to represent them as a single entity or single unit, then we'll go for either collections or arrays. But why not arrays, and why should collections, right? In that case, the size is fixed. If you take arrays, the size is fixed, but the collections, the size is growable in nature, right? So then you don't get that uh, error, or you don't get that problem with that, correct? So that is one advantage of collections, and there is a lot of built-in support for the methods. If you wanted to do certain operations, right? So there will be a lot of support for the collections. So yeah, so if you wanted to remove, there will be a remove method. If you wanted to add, there is add method, right? If you wanted to search, there is a method called contains, right? Size. So there are a lot of method support is available for the collections. So collections are better as compared to arrays. Okay, but when should we use what, right? So these are the drawbacks of arrays, and we are avoiding arrays and we are going for collections. But when should we use collections and when should we use arrays, right? If you know size, if we know size or how many elements that we wanted to store, if you already know the size, then if you know the size in like if you know the size, right? So then arrays are recommended, right? Using arrays is recommended. So because if your priority is performance, right? If your priority is performance, then you have to use arrays. Okay. So because arrays are efficient in terms of performance. Okay. So if your main priority is performance, right? So if your priority is performance, then you should go for arrays. And the condition is you should know the size, right? So arrays. If your priority is uh, memory efficient, right? Memory efficiency you need. Memory efficiency is your priority, then you will go for collections. So performance is not your priority, memory efficiency is your priority, then we should go for collections, right? So why what is the performance issue over here is, right? So collections are growable in nature, but it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of performance to increase that, or to accommodate that extra space for that element that you are going to add, right? So by default, if this is your collection, right? So if I have some elements like, if I have some elements like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have some elements. So if this is my array, then I cannot add one more extra element, right? So whatever the elements I have declared, so whatever the elements that I have declared, so these are that's it, right? So these many elements it can hold if it is an array. But if it is an array list, if I wanted to add one more element, that is if I wanted to add 10, the extra element to this particular collection, then it is possible. But internally what happens is it's not going to create an extra space something like this. It's not going to create an extra space something like this. It's not going to create, right? It's not going to create it, it's not going to do this, right? Instead what it's going to do is internally it's going to create a different copy of, it's going to create one more collection, right? So let's say this is my collection. Okay, so it is representing these many values, right? So I wanted to insert 10 into this. If it is an array, it is not possible because its size is fixed. I cannot add, or I cannot insert an extra element into it. But if it is a collection, I can insert. But internally how it should accept the one more element is, it's going to create a different collection with one more space. Okay, with one more space it's going to create one more collection. Okay, and then it's going to copy all these elements, it's going to copy all these elements that are there in this collection into this collection, and in this extra space it's going to give this space for this extra element, that is 10. Okay, and this reference variable is pointing to this collection. It will be, the link will be break, and it's going to start pointing to this particular collection. Okay, and this collection object is eligible for garbage collection. Okay, so it's going to be cleaned up by garbage collector in Java, right? In this case, right, this is how it's going to implemented, it is implemented it is implemented in Java. Okay, so if you wanted to add one more element or one more object into this collection, internally it doesn't create it doesn't give you one more space, rather it will create the copy of the collection again, and it will give you space for storing or accepting that extra object that you wanted to store or you wanted to add, right? And that reference will be, this reference will be removed, this reference will be removed, right? This is not going to be pointed to this particular object anymore. This link will be break, and it's gonna start pointing to this new object, and this old object is eligible for garbage collection. Okay, so that is how it is implemented, right? But what is the performance issue over here, right? Here we only have 10 elements, but assume you have 1 lakh elements, right? 1 lakh times it has to copy the elements. 1 lakh items, it has to copy to the new element. For like if you wanted to store 1 lakh one element, then it has to perform 1 lakh copy operations before, and then it's going to accept your 1 lakh one element, right? So in this case the performance is a bit slower, correct? So but in the arrays it's not the case. You have defined 1000 as your size, and you can able to insert 1000 elements, right? So when your performance is your priority and you know the size, then go for arrays. But if you don't know the size and performance is not that much important, right? So some cases, so it's not like too late, but as compared to arrays, this performance is little less. Okay, so then you can choose for collections. Okay, so if you don't know the size, then exactly you don't have like you don't have any option, right? If you don't know the size, you have to come for collections only, right? So this is how it happens. Internally, it's going to create one more copy, and the reference variable is going to point to the new object, and the old object is eligible for garbage collection. The garbage collector will clean up that space, right? So this space will be released from the memory, right? So that is how it's going to work in the collections. Okay, so that is the concept of performance. Okay, memory efficiency, right? Memory efficiency is, right, whenever memory is your priority, then go for collections, because if you take the arrays, if you take the array, this array can hold, this array can hold 100 items. Okay, and you have only two elements, have only two elements, right? So these remaining 99 memory locations are waste. So these are waste. This memory is never used, but it is reserved, right? So these 99 memory locations are, or 98 memory locations are waste, right? So in that case, it is not efficient, right? So if you have declared more, you have reserved more space and you are using only less, right? In that case, it is not efficient in terms of memory, right? So that is what the concept is, right? The memory efficiency concept. So this is the only difference between collections and arrays. So you can choose, right? So performance, arrays are best performance wise. In terms of memory, collections are best. Okay, so this is the concept of collections, and why we need collections is, like, so due to this we need collections, right? uh, right, so that is right. Even here also you have this object array, right? What is the limitation of this? Here also you have to know the size. Even if you have this object array, you need to know the size. You can only store 200 items in it, but what if you got 400 objects in the runtime? So which is not capable of storing those extra 200 object, right? So that is the concept of this object arrays, or that is the limitation of these object arrays, because we already have defined the size in previous, and we cannot accommodate extra elements into that particular array, right? So that is the concept of that, right? So like these are the drawbacks of arrays, and these are the benefits of collections, and which, like, when to choose which particular thing, right? That I have explained right now. Okay, so coming to the collections, these are growable in nature, right? Only the major reason is this: you can have, you can store any number of elements you want. You need not to know how many elements you should store in before, right? So that is the only advantage of using collections. Okay, so there is right some terminology of this collection, right? So it is a framework, right? It's a collection API or collection framework that is a part of Java, right? If it is a concept, right, in this collection we have different set of classes and interfaces, right? So different classes and interfaces are available, right? We'll discuss about those important interfaces and collections, sorry, important interfaces and classes now, so that we can get familiar with how to use them. Okay, so what are the part of, right, what are the concepts of that collection framework, or what are the right? So right, so sorry, yeah. So if you wanted to represent these many elements, or if you wanted to represent this group of data, you need to have some collection, some classes and interfaces, right? So these group of classes and interfaces together called a collection framework, right? So in the collection framework, we have some set of classes and interfaces. That concept we'll call as collection framework, right? So what are those classes and interfaces, and how to use them, we'll discuss now. Okay, so in the collection framework, right? So the major, right? So in majorly we have 9 interfaces are available, right? So 9 major interfaces are there, right? So we know, right, interface means it's a set of abstract classes. We can have abstract classes in the interface, and all these, if you wanted to implement them, we need to create some child classes or implementation classes we need to create, and we have to use them, correct? So these are the main interfaces we have, right? So I'll be discussing about those interfaces, right? So the first interface name is collection. So collection is the first interface, right? So collection framework is the concept. Okay, so collection is a concept, and we have an interface in this framework named collection, right? So collection is also a concept, right? So if you wanted to represent individual objects into a single entity, then we'll call that as a collection. But in the collection framework, we also have an interface named collection. Okay, so collection is an interface. Okay, so this collection, so we have this collection called, we have an interface called collection, and we have one more class that is called collections. So collections is a class that is also available in this framework. Okay, so in the collection framework, we have set of interfaces and classes, okay, for representing group of objects, right? The collection framework, Java is providing some set of classes and interfaces for us to represent group of data. Okay, so in that, the first interface is collection interface. Okay, so in that, the first interface is collection interface, and we also have an utility class that is named collections. Okay, collections is a class name that is in the collection framework. Okay, so we'll discuss about these things later. Okay, so we have a class called collections and we have an interface called collection. This collection interface, okay, is having a child interface. So it is having a child interface, that is, the name of that interface is list. The name of that interface is list interface. Okay, and this list interface is having an implementation class that is named as array list. Array list is a class that is available in this collection framework. Okay, so collection is the root interface for all the other interfaces in the collection. Okay, so it is the root interface for all the other interfaces in the collection framework. Collection, right? List interface is extending from the collection framework, collection interface. Okay, and array list is a class that is implementing this list interface. Okay, so collection is an interface, the child of that interface is list interface, and the implementation class is array list, right? So this is the, these are a few interfaces and classes in this thing. Okay, so what is the properties of this list? Okay, so when should we go for list? So in the list we can store duplicates, we can store duplicate elements. So we can store duplicate elements in a list. In a list we can store duplicate elements, and we can preserve insertion order. Insertion order can be preserved. That means the order that you have inserted elements into the collection, you can retrieve in the same manner. Okay, so if you want these both things, then we can go for list interface. Okay, list interface is part of collection interface. Okay, so this collection interface is part of collection framework. Okay, so this collection framework defines a concept called grouping different items or different objects into a single unit, right? So so that list interface, when we go for list interface is, right, so when we go for list interface is when we wanted to store duplicate elements. When we wanted to store duplicate elements, then we'll go for list interface, and we can preserve the insertion order, the order that you have inserted, in the same order you can retrieve the elements. Okay, so you can retrieve the elements. Okay, so this is the list interface. Okay, so in the list interface we have again few child classes, that is array list, and then we have linked list. So we have linked list, this is also a class, and then again we have a class called vector. So again there is a child class for this vector, that is stack. Okay, so this is the hierarchy of this collection, right? So in the collection we have a child interface called list. Inside this list we have array list and linked list and vector. And vector, again there is a child class that is stack. Okay, so these are the part of list interface. Okay, all these list interface will be having these two properties. The order you have inserted, you can get the same order, and you can store duplicate elements. Okay, so this is the list interface, and we have one more interface that is called set interface. Okay, so we have the second interface, that is set interface. Set interface. Okay, this set interface is also a child of collection interface. set interface is also a part of collection interface, right? So right, set interface is also part of collection interface. So when we go for set is, if you don't want to store duplicates, right? So set doesn't allow duplicate entries. Set doesn't allow you to insert duplicate values into it, right? So duplicates are not allowed. So when you don't want duplicates, then you go for set. And when you don't care about the insertion order, right? When you don't want to preserve, right? If you don't want to insertion order. So in the set, the disadvantage is if you store the elements, so you cannot guarantee the order, right? So the way you have inserted the elements, you cannot get it back in the same order. The order will be changed, right? So if you don't care about the insertion order, right, then you can use the set. But the major property of the set is set doesn't allow you to enter duplicate elements into it, or set cannot store the duplicate elements. But in the list, you can store the duplicate objects or duplicate elements, you can store in the list. Okay, so right, so again this set will be having some child classes. Those are hash set and linked hash set. Okay, so hash set is a class, and we have one more child class, that is linked hash set. So we have one more class, that is linked hash set, right? So these are the hierarchy of this set interface. Okay, so list interface, we have list, array list, linked list, and vector and stack. In the set we have collection, set, right? So collection and collection child interface is set, right? And this set is having some implementation class that is called hash set. And this hash set, again there is a child class for this hash set, that is linked hash set. Okay, so the only difference between list and set are duplicates elements are allowed in the list and duplicates are not allowed in the set. Okay, so in the list we can store the duplicate elements, but in the set we cannot store the duplicate elements. Insertion order is preserved in case of list. The way how you inserted the elements, you can get them as it is while you are retrieving them, so you can get in the same order as you have inserted them, right? But in the set you cannot guarantee that order. The order can be anything, but you can get all the elements, but not in the same order that you have inserted. Okay, so that is a difference between list and set. Okay, these are some implementation classes for this set interface. Okay, so classes, a class can extend a class will implement this interface, correct? So yeah, so this is the concept of set interface. Okay, so I think yeah, it's gonna end. We'll rejoin. Okay, I'll just end the meeting. We'll right. So set, we cannot store duplicate elements in the set, but in the list we can store duplicate elements. Okay, so after set, third interface is queue interface. Okay, so third interface that is available in this collection framework is queue. So queue, right? So this is also a child of collection interface. This is also child of. Okay. So this is also, yeah, before going to this queue, we have something called navigable set, sorted set, and navigable set. Okay, so these are also two interfaces of set. Okay, so sorted set is another interface that we have in the collection framework, and we also have navigable set. Okay, so sorted set is, so if you don't want duplicates, if you don't want duplicate, but it has to be sorted in some order, right? It has to be sorted in some order, then we'll go for sorted set. Okay, by default this set doesn't give you the sorted elements. Okay, but if it is a sorted set, it's gonna give you elements in some sorted order. Okay, so that is a sorted set. Okay, so this sorted set, there is a child class, a child interface, that is navigable set. Okay, so in this navigable set, by default you will get some utility method for the navigation, right? If you wanted to go to the next element or the previous element, or if you wanted to start from the reverse order, right? If you wanted to navigate within the set, you'll be getting some utility method support in this navigable set. So this is the child of sorted set, and this sorted set is child of this set. Okay, so this set interface is extending one more interface. Sorry, this sorted set is extending from the set. Okay, and then this navigable set is extending from this sorted set. Okay, so this parent of navigable set is sorted set, and the parent of sorted set is set interface. Okay, so this is has set is a class. Okay, so right, so if you want the default sort, if you want sorting order, then we'll go for sorted set. If you want to have some support for the navigation, right, so better support for the navigation, then we'll use navigable set. And the child of this navigable set is, there's a child class for this navigable set, that is tree set. So there is a class called tree set. This is the child of navigable set. Okay, so this is the hierarchy of set interface. Okay, and we have something called queue. Okay, so we have something called queue. So we have something called queue. Queue is also an interface of this collection framework. Queue is also an interface of collection framework. So when should we use queue? So when we want FIFO, right? So first in first out approach, right? So if you wanted to store the elements before some processing, right? So if you wanted to process some set of elements, right, you can store these queue. You can store them in the queue. That means if you wanted to send uh, an email to 1,000 people or 1 lakh people, if you wanted to send us email, right? So those 1 lakh users email ID, where do you store, right? You have to store somewhere, and you have to access one and one element, right, based on the element that you have inserted first, right? So in that case, you can hold all those things in the queue, right? Before processing, if you wanted to store some amount of data, right, so then we can go for queue, right? In this queue, again, we have different implementation things available, right? So implementation classes and interfaces are available, right? Queue extending one more interface, that is priority queue. So one more child for this queue interface is priority queue, right? And one more child is blocking queue. So blocking queue is one more child. Again, this blocking queue, again there is two children for this blocking queue. One is linked blocking queue, and the second is priority blocking queue, right? Right, so these are the two children of this blocking queue, and in this queue interface, we have to learn about this priority queue, blocking queue, linked blocking queue, priority blocking queue, and the methods in it and all. Okay, so these things we'll discuss. So this is about queue interface, right? So right, so like these are part of this collection interface. This queue is extending from, again, collection interface. So collection interface, we have one more interface called queue interface, and the queue interface will be having children like priority queue and blocking queue. Again, there is two children for blocking queue, that those are linked blocking queue and priority blocking queue, right? These are children for blocking queue, and blocking queue is a child of, sorry, is a child of queue, right? So this is about the queue, and queue follows, we know, right, first in first out approach, right? So queue follows FIFO, right? So if you wanted to process the elements, right, so before processing you wanted to store somewhere, then we'll go for queue. Okay, so after this thing, we have something called map interface. Okay, so map interface, we have an interface called map, right? So above all, you wanted to store these things, you wanted to store things as a group. If you wanted to store, we'll go for these list, set, queue, right? So all these things are used for storing these individual objects. So let's say this is a collection. So if you wanted to store individual objects, if you wanted to store these individual objects into a group, then we'll go for these collections, right? List, set, and queue. But if you wanted to store data in a key value pair, in a key value pair, key value pair, like if you have a student, right? So student ID and name, if you wanted to store them, so ID will be the key and name will be the value, right? So student one name, student one, right? So ID or roll number, you can say employee ID and name. Let's say employee ID and name. So each employee ID will be identified with a key called ID, and he will be having a name, right? So if you wanted to represent the data in a key value pair, right? So key value pair will go for map. Okay, so map represent the data in the form of key value pair. So this key is also an object and value is also an object. Okay, so this is an object and this is also an object, right? So name and branch, right? So something like, right? So if you wanted to represent in a key value pair, then we'll go for map interface. Okay, so we cannot have, or we should not have, or map shouldn't allow, map should not allow, sorry, map doesn't allow to have duplicate keys. So we cannot have duplicate keys. Okay, but we can have duplicate values. Okay, so values can be duplicates, there can be duplicates in the values, but we cannot have duplicate keys in the map, right? So when you wanted to represent the data in the form of key value pair, then we'll go for map interface. Okay, so again in the map interface we have some children for this map. Okay, but this map interface is not, interface is not a child of collection, right? So collection is an interface, and collection interface is having queue, set and list, but map is not part of collection interface, but it is a part of collection framework. In the collection framework we have set of interfaces and classes. Okay, so usually everyone says that collection is the root interface for all the other interfaces, but it is not true. Okay, so collection interface, the children are list, set and then queue, that's it. Okay, so and the map is separate thing. Map is not inheriting from the collection interface, but it is part of collection framework. Okay, so these are all representing the data as individual objects, but if you wanted to represent the data in a key value pair, if you wanted to assign some key to it, and yeah, so if you wanted to store in that manner, right? So roll number, employee ID and his name, right? Department name and department ID, right? IP address and domain name, right? So if you wanted to just store in this relation, right, some key and value pair, if you wanted to store the data or if you wanted to represent the data, then we'll use map interface. Okay, so in the map interface again we have some children for this. Okay, so a map will be having map, right? So we have hash map, okay, and we have weak hash map, we have weak hash map, and we have identity hash map, okay, so we have hash map, weak hash map and identity hash map, and hash table hash table as its children. Okay, so these are all children, and this hash table is having one more parent, that is called dictionary. So dictionary is an abstract class. So dictionary is an abstract class. This hash table is extending from this dictionary and implementing from this map. Okay, so again this hash table is having one more child, that is called properties. But these are all the old Java concepts, right? So these are all legacy classes. Okay, right now we cannot, like, yeah, so yeah, so that is the old things, right? These have been introduced newly, right? So hash map, and then there is one more child for this hash map, that is linked hash map. So linked hash map is a child of hash map. Okay, so map interface, hash map, weak hash map, identity hash map, and hash table. Okay, so these are the children. Again, hash table is extending from dictionary class. Okay, there is a class called dictionary, and it is extending from dictionary class, and it is having a child, that is properties. Okay, the child name is properties. Okay, and there is one more child for this hash map, that is linked hash map. Okay, so linked hash map. So these are the direct child of hash map, and we have one more child for this hash map, that is sorted hash map. Sorted hash map. So this is also an interface. So this is also an interface. Sorted hash map is also child of map. Okay, so by default, if your keys you wanted to sort the elements, you wanted to sort the elements in some order, right? So all the keys of this hash map. So usually map means will represent the data in the key value pair, right? Name and roll number, right? If you wanted to sort them using their roll number, right? So if the keys are by default in the sorted order, right? Some sorted order, then we go for sorted hash map, right? If you wanted to insert the data and it has to automatically get sorted, then we'll go for sorted hash map, right? So keys will be sorted in some order, right? So either in ascending or descending order, right? So some order these keys will be uh, sorted, right? So then we'll go for sorted hash map. Okay, and then again this sorted hash map will be having a child called navigable hash map. Navigable hash map is again the child of sorted hash map. So as we have the same with the list, same with the set, so there will be some support for the so for the navigation. There will be some support. The utility method support will be there for the navigable hash map. Okay, so again in the navigable hash map there is a child class or the implementation class that is called tree map. So there is a implementation class available for the navigable hash map, that is tree map. Okay, so tree map is a child of this navigable hash map. Okay, so if you go with the hierarchy of this entire collection framework, right? So entire collection framework hierarchy, if you go, so these are the available classes and interfaces available. Okay, so and we have few more things available, right? If you wanted to sort the elements, right? If you wanted to sort the elements, so any of these collections, if you wanted to sort the elements, we have two interfaces available. So one is comparable interface is available, and one more thing is comparator interface, right? So these are the two interfaces that are available for sorting. Comparator, right? So comparator interface is available for sorting. If you wanted to sort the elements, so these are the two useful interfaces available for sorting. Okay, we'll discuss about this comparator and comparable, but like for now comparable is default sorting, right? If you wanted to customize the sorting, then we'll go for comparator. Okay, so if you wanted to access the elements one by one, right, from these collection, right, all these collections can store the set of elements. If you wanted to access an element one by one, then we need some cursors, right? So we need some cursors. So there are some cursors available in the collection framework. So those are enumeration. So enumeration. Okay. So enumeration is one cursor, and then iterator. Okay. So and then list iterator, right? Iterator, and then we have list iterator. So these are the cursors that are available for sorting. We have these things. Sorting, we have these interfaces. For the cursors, we have these things. Okay. So and some utility classes are there. Okay, some utility class are there, right? So one is collections. So as we have discussed, right, in the beginning, right? So collections is a class. It is having some utility methods. Okay, so right, so these collections will be having some utility methods for the collections, right? Something like uh, if you wanted to reverse some array list, right? So collections dot, so yeah, so if you take array list, there is no method for sorting the elements of the array list. Then what we have to do, how should we sort this array list? We have to use collections dot sort. Sort is a method that is available in this collections class. This collections class is going to provide some utility methods for us. Okay, so all the methods that are useful, right? So these for performing these kind of operations, so those methods are defined in this collections class, right? So in the array list, if you wanted to sort the elements, there is no direct method available in the array list class. Okay, so then what we'll use is collections dot sort, and we'll pass this array list. Then it's going to return the array list, the sorted array list. It's going to return us. Okay, so in that way, all the utility methods are defined in this collections class, right? So that is what I'm just writing over here. Okay, so these are the complete set of classes and interfaces that are available in this collection framework. Okay, so and what is the purpose of each and everything we'll discuss. Okay, so I'll just draw the overall picture of a collection framework. Okay, so if you take the collection framework, the most like the important root element is collection. Okay, so collection is the right, so most important interface, right? So this collection having some children, right? One is list. This collection, there are some children for this collection. One is list, and the second is set, and the third is queue. Okay, so three direct inter there are three direct children for this collection interface. Okay, so one is list interface. Okay, the second is set interface, and the third is queue interface. Okay, queue interface, right? So again in this list I have array list, linked list, vector. Okay, so the children of this list are array list, linked list, and vector. Correct. So this list is having some children, that is array list, linked list, and then we have something called vector. Okay, so these are the children of list: array list, linked list, and vector. Okay, so again vector is having one more child, that is stack. So vector is having some child, that is stack. Stack is the child of vector. Okay, so this is about vector interface, right? So sorry, list. This is about list. So coming to the set, so set is having some elements like hash set, sorted set, right? So these are the direct children of set. So set is having two children, that is hash set and sorted set. So it is having two children, that is hash set and then sorted set. So these are the children of set interface, correct? So these are the children of set interface. So these are the children of set interface, right? Sorted set. Again in the sorted set we have navigable set and then tree set, right? Again in the sorted set we have something called navigable set. Okay, so the child of navigable set is tree set. Okay, so tree set is a child of navigable set. Okay, so now again this hash set is having one more child, that is linked hash set. This hash set is having a child called linked hash set. Okay, so we have this linked hash set. Okay, so again in the queue, so this is the part of set interface. Okay, so again in this queue we have two direct children. So those are priority queue and blocking queue. Priority queue and then blocking queue. So we have these two as direct children for this queue interface. Okay, so these are the two children. One is priority queue and the second is blocking queue. Right. Again in this blocking queue, I have two children. So that is priority blocking queue and linked blocking queue. Again I have two children, that is priority blocking queue and then linked blocking queue. So these are the two things that are available in this queue interface. Okay, so this is queue interface. Okay, so in this collection framework, right? So this is the collection is the one interface. Under the collection we have list, set, and queue. Under the list we have array list, linked list, and vector. Under the vector we have stack. Coming to the set, we have hash set and sorted set. So under the hash set we have linked hash set, and then under the sorted set we have navigable set and tree set. So in the queue we have priority queue, blocking queue, and we have priority blocking queue and linked blocking queue as children of blocking queue. Okay, so this is the collection interface. So coming to the map is also part of collection framework. So map is also part of this collection framework. So coming to the map. So we have hash map, weak hash map, identity hash map, and sorted hash map. So these are the children of map interface. Okay, so what are those? We have hash map, we have weak hash map, we have identity hash map, and we have sorted map, right? So we have sorted map. Okay, so these are the children of hash map, and we have hash table. So these are the part of map interface. Okay, so in the again a child for this hash map, that is linked hash map. Linked hash map is the child of hash map, and we have weak hash map, identity hash map, and the sorted map is having few more children. So those are navigable map, and then the child of navigable map is tree map, correct? So tree map. So these are the children of sorted map. And hash table, right? Hash table is having a child called properties. Okay, so and this is extending from a abstract class called dictionary. Okay, so it is extending from an abstract class called dictionary. So map, hash map. So map is having hash map. So weak hash map, identity hash map, sorted hash map, and then it is having hash table, and this hash table is extending from dictionary, and hash table is having properties. Sorted hash map is having navigable map and tree map, and then hash map is having linked hash map. So this is the hierarchy of a map interface. So this is the hierarchy of map interface, and these are the respective classes and interfaces available in this map. Okay, so coming to the sorting, if you wanted to sort the elements in these collections, for sorting we have comparator and comparable, right? So comparable. So these are the two interfaces that are used for sorting in the collection framework. If you wanted to sort anything, then we can use this comparator or comparable, right? By default we only have support for sorted set and sorted map. Okay, apart from this, if you wanted to sort any other thing, then we have to use comparator or comparable. So these are also two interfaces. So only two things are by default sorted: sorted set and sorted map. Apart from that, all the other things, if you wanted to sort, then we have to use comparator and comparable. Okay, so this is the sorting. Coming to the sorting, so this is the thing, right? If you wanted to access an element one by one, then we have to use something called cursors. Okay, so we need some cursors, right? So the cursor related classes are, so even in the database we have these cursors, right? So if you wanted to achieve the same functionality as of cursors, right, we have few classes that are available, that are enumeration. Okay, so iterator, so list iterator. So these are the classes for iteration. Okay, sorry, these are the classes that are used as cursors in collection framework. So these are some classes that are used as cursors in collection framework. So, and utility class. So there is a utility class. So utility class is nothing but it is having some utility methods so that we can use along with the collections. So that the name of that class is collections. So collections is the name of the class. Okay. So collection is a concept that defines how to group the data. Okay. Collection is a concept that defines how to group the data. So in order to group the data or in order to implement this collection concept, we have collection framework. We have collection framework. Framework is nothing but some set of classes and interfaces. It is the collection of some classes and interfaces to group the data. Okay. So within that framework, we have an interface called collection. We have an interface called collection and we have a utility method called collections. Okay. Collections is a class and collection is an interface. These all the classes and interfaces are part of this framework. Okay. And this framework is in Java, right? So in the same form, there is a library called standard template library that is in the C++, which is defining the same thing, right? Which is telling the same thing, that how to group the data. That is standard template library. There also we have vectors and all, right? So the same way, this concept is defining how to group the data. So in order to implement that concept, they have introduced a framework called collection framework. Within that framework, we have different set of classes and interfaces. So collection is an interface and collections is a class. It's a utility class, right? So map and collection. So these are the two important interfaces, the two root interfaces that are available in this collection framework. And under this collection interface, we have these set of interfaces and classes. Under the map, we have these things available. And for sorting, we have these two things. For cursors, that means if you wanted to access an element by element or an item by item, then you have to use these kind of cursors. So those are enumeration, iterator and list iterator. And as a utility method, we have this collections class. Okay. So this is the overview of collections, right? So what are the things that are involved in the collection? So this is the overview. Okay. So now let's discuss about this collection interface. Okay. So what are the methods that are available in this collection interface? So we'll discuss about that. Okay. So we'll discuss about this part of the collections. Okay. So collections. Okay. So in the collection, this is a collection overview. This is a collection overview, right? In this collection, this is a collection interface, right? So interface is nothing but some methods. Okay. So some methods. So what kind of methods available in this collection? So whatever the methods that are there in the collection are applicable for all these children, correct? So all the methods that are applicable for these children are defined in this interface. Okay. So all the abstract methods that are required for this children are defined, right? Most common methods of all these children. So in the list also we require some methods, right? In the set also we require some methods. In the queue also we require some methods. So commonly like each of these interface will be having some methods. All the common methods they have kept in this interface. All the common methods across these children are kept in this interface. Okay. So what are those methods? I'll just list out. Okay. So I'll list out all those methods. So in the collection interface, so we have some list of methods. So what are those methods, right? First method is add. Okay. First method is I can add an object. I can add an object to this collection. So if I wanted to add an object to this collection, then I have to use a method called add method. Okay. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, right. So if I wanted to add any object to the collection, then I have to use this method called add. Okay. So return type of this method is boolean add. I can add any object to this collection. Okay. That means I have group of data. So I have a collection and it is representing some group of data. Okay. And I wanted to add one more object to this collection. I wanted to add one more object to this collection. Then I'll go for add method. Okay. So that is the first method. I wanted to add an object to this collection, then I'll go for this. Okay, then I have one more method, that is boolean add all. Add all is a method. So in this method, what we have to pass is collection. So the parameter that we have to pass is collection. So what happens here? This is a collection, this is a collection, and you have one more collection, and you have one more collection. Again, in this collection, you have some set of data, right? You have some set of data in this collection, right? Now you wanted to add this collection to this collection. Then what we have to use? We have to go for add all, and we have to pass the collection. So whatever the elements are there in this collection, so these elements will be, or these items will be added to the collection. Okay, collection dot add all, right? So that method is going to be adding this collection that you are passing. Okay, so then we have to use this add all method. So the third method that we have is remove. Okay, so it's also, the return type will be boolean, either true or false. If it can able to add, then it's going to return true, otherwise it's going to return false, right? So that boolean is the return type. Boolean, we have something called remove. And if you wanted to remove any object, if you wanted to remove any object, if you wanted to remove any object, then we have to use this remove method. That means if I wanted to remove, this particular object, okay, so then I'll use collection dot remove, right? So that remove method I'll use, correct? So remove method I'll use. If I wanted to remove some set of values, right? If I wanted to remove some set of values, then I'll go for a method called remove all. Remove all is a method, and you have to pass collection. You have to pass collection, right? So you have some set of values, you wanted to remove these two things. Okay, so these two things are, or you have a collection. So this collection you have, this is having some 6 elements. So these 6 elements are there in this collection as well. Okay, and more elements, right? So it is having some 20 elements. It is having some 20 elements, and this collection is having 6 elements. You wanted to deduct these, or if you wanted to remove these 6 elements from these 20 elements, right? So then all these elements that are there in the collection will be removed from these 20 elements, right? Remove all. So all these 6 elements, if you wanted to remove as a group from this 20, then we'll go for remove all method. Okay, so remove all method we'll use. Okay, so this collection will be removed from this 20 collection. So this collection will be removed from this collection. Okay, so the return type is also boolean, because if the elements are found, then only it can remove, otherwise it cannot remove. So in that case we'll be getting false, right? True or false. Again, I have one more method called boolean retain all. Retain all is a method, and then again I have to pass collection. Okay, so collection C, the same thing, right? So these three methods are for removal. So these three methods are for removal. So I can remove a single object, I can remove some set of objects from the collection, or I can keep some elements and I can remove the rest of the elements, right? So I have this collection, I wanted to keep only this much, these elements within this collection, and remaining rest 14 elements I wanted to delete. Then which elements you wanted to retain, that elements you have to define as a collection, and you have to use that retain all method. Okay, so you have 20 elements in total, right? These 6 elements you wanted to retain, the 6 elements you wanted to retain, and all the other elements you wanted to delete, right? In that case, you can pass this collection by using retain all method. Only this 6 elements within this 20 will be retained, and all the other elements will be deleted, right? So all the other elements will be removed from this collection. So in that case, in that way, these three methods are useful in removal, right? So element removal, these three elements will be used. Okay, so and then we have one more method called clear. Okay, so the return type is void clear is the one more method. Okay, so it's gonna remove entire contents of the collection. It's gonna remove the entire contents of the collection. So if you wanted to clear all the elements of the collection, then we'll use the clear, and you don't require any parameter. It's a no argument method, right? So if you wanted to clear entire content of the collection, then we'll use clear method. Okay. So again, we have contains. Okay. So after clearing or before clearing, if you wanted to check how many elements are there in this collection, how many elements are there in the collection, then we have something called int size function or size method. So size is a method. It's going to return the number of elements in that collection, that is int, right? It's gonna give you the size of elements, that is int. Okay, the return type is int. So if you wanted to check whether some object is available in this collection or not, if you wanted to search for an object in that collection, then we have to use boolean. It's going to return true or false, right? So that is the reason the return type is boolean, and the method name is contains. So we have this method called contains, and you have to pass the object. You have to pass the object, right? Boolean contains object. That means if you wanted to check whether an object is available in that collection or not, then you have to use a method called contains. Okay, so this is the contains method. And if you wanted to check a collection of objects are available or not, okay, so if you wanted to check whether this group of elements are, so these 6 elements are available in this 20, right? In this 20 elements, right? So I'm saying this 20 elements are there in this collection. So these 6 elements are there in this 20 elements or not. If you wanted to check as a collection, if you wanted to search, right, then we have to use contains all. So contains all, so you have to pass collection C, right? If you wanted to check whether a group of elements are available in the collection or not, then we'll use contains all. Okay, so this is one more method. Okay, and if you wanted to check whether the collection is empty or not, if the collection is having elements or not, if you wanted to check that, then there is a method called boolean. So boolean is empty. Is empty is a method that is available in this collection interface, which is useful in checking whether the collection is empty or not. Collection is empty or not. Okay, and then if you wanted to convert, this collection into an array, right? If you wanted to convert this collection into an array, then we have a method called toArray. ToArray is a method. It's gonna convert this collection into array. Okay, it's gonna convert this collection into array. But what will be the return type? The return type is object array, because all the collections in the collection, everything is an object, right? So whenever I convert this to an array, it's going to return an object array. It's going to return an object array. So meeting is going to end. I think yeah. So I'll end the meeting soon. So just rejoin once. So I'll not take more than 5 minutes, and we can stop the